For 2 millennia, Ethiopian monks guarded a secret so dangerous it could rewrite cosmic history. Lucifer not as mere fallen angel, but as a pivotal figure in a divine plan they dared not reveal. Until now. You're about to uncover the truth buried in mountain monasteries, preserved on fragile parchment, hidden from the world. This is the story they tried to erase. You were made for this revelation. They didn't want you to know. You stand at the edge of a forbidden truth. For 2,000 years, Ethiopian monks in remote monasteries have kept a secret about Lucifer that challenges everything you were taught. This isn't just a story, it's a cosmic cover-up. They didn't want you to know. Imagine, deep in the highlands of Ethiopia, in caves and sanctuaries, scribes copied texts by candlelight, texts that bishops in Rome and Constantinople ordered burned. Why? Because these pages reveal Lucifer not as a mere villain, but as a key player in a divine drama far more complex than the simple tale of good versus evil. The air in those scriptoriums was thick with incense and fear that the truth might be lost or worse, discovered by those who would destroy it. You feel it, don't you? That gnawing sense that the narrative you've inherited has gaps, silences, deliberate omissions. This journey begins not with a fall, but with a purpose. Lucifer's name means light-bearer, and in the hidden texts, that light was meant to illuminate something the powers that be couldn't control. You were made for this. But what if I told you that Lucifer's descent was not a rebellion, but a sacred mission? The evidence survived, and it's about to shatter your world. If something in you recognizes this truth, and you want more revelations like this, leave a comment and stay with this story. Until the end, your reaction tells me to keep opening these doors for you. Now picture the cosmos before the rupture. Before the fall, before the exile, there was a harmony so profound it vibrated through the celestial spheres. Envision the throne room of heaven not as a static painting, but as a living, breathing organism of light and song. The Book of Enoch, preserved by Ethiopian scribes when others burned it, describes this realm in dizzying detail. Hierarchies of angels, choirs of fire, and at the center, the ineffable presence, and among them, Lucifer. Not as a shadow, but as a prince of light entrusted with mysteries. You are there, witnessing this. The air shimmers with purpose. Every being has a role, a note in the symphony. But Lucifer's note was different, a frequency meant to test, to challenge, to elevate. The Ethiopian texts whisper of a divine council where plans were laid for humanity's emergence. Lucifer was part of that council. His role, to bring the fire of consciousness, the spark of questioning. They didn't want you to know that his rebellion might have been foreknown, even necessary. The veil grows thin as you peer into this prelapsarian world. Feel the tension building. The cosmic architecture was designed for growth, not stagnation. And Lucifer was the catalyst. But then, the unthinkable happened. The harmony fractured. Why? Because someone dared to ask a question that heaven itself feared. Stay with me. The rupture is coming. The invisible architecture of heaven was built on a paradox. Free will within divine order. Lucifer, as light-bearer, held the torch that could reveal the shadows. In the Ethiopian tradition, drawn from the Book of Enoch and other apocrypha, angels are not mere messengers. They are stewards of cosmic laws. Lucifer's domain was the boundary between knowledge and obedience. He stood at the threshold where curiosity meets command. You sense it, the thrill of a truth too vast for simple binaries. The texts describe him as the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and beauty, until iniquity was found in him. But what iniquity? The standard tale says pride. The hidden manuscripts suggest otherwise. They speak of a divine experiment, to introduce duality into a perfect system so that creation could choose love rather than be programmed for it. Lucifer's purpose was to be the agent of that choice. He didn't fall, he stepped down, voluntarily, into the abyss. For us, They didn't want you to know this because it makes evil not a mistake, but a sacrament. Your soul trembles at the implication. This rewrites theodicy, the problem of evil. What if suffering has a sacred role? What if the devil is not an enemy, but an instrument? The evidence survived in Gaia's script on goatskin pages, but the rupture was violent and its echoes still haunt us. The moment of dissent approaches, the rupture. It wasn't a sudden plunge, but a deliberate unraveling. According to the Ethiopian Book of the Angels, a text guarded in Lalibela, Lucifer gathered a third of the heavenly host and presented a proposal: to gift humanity with the knowledge of good and evil directly, bypassing the slow divine pedagogy. This was the forbidden fruit, not as temptation, but as acceleration. He argued that without tasting duality, humans would remain eternal children, never truly free. The council divided. War erupted not with swords, but with vibrations that shattered dimensions. You hear the cacophony, the tearing of veils, the screams of angels torn between loyalty and vision. Lucifer's descent was not a fall, but a sacrifice. He took on the role of adversary so that we could have choice. The light-bearer became the light-breaker, allowing shadows to define the light. This is the secret the monks hid, that Lucifer's purpose was to embody the necessary opposition in a cosmic drama of soul-making. They didn't want you to know because it destabilizes moral certainty. Imagine the gravity of this: evil as a divine tool. The aftermath was catastrophic. Heaven wept. Earth was seeded with both glory and agony. But the story doesn't end there. The consequences were more devastating than anyone foresaw, and someone recorded it all. The aftermath, a cosmos scarred, a earth drowning in chaos. When Lucifer and his watchers descended, they didn't just bring knowledge, they brought corruption. The Book of Enoch details how these angels, the sons of God, took human wives and taught forbidden arts, magic, warfare, sorcery. Giants were born, and the earth cried out. This was the collateral damage of the divine experiment. You witness the floodwaters rising, not just as punishment, but as purification. God's response was wrath, but also grief. The hidden Ethiopian commentaries reveal a startling nuance. Lucifer was not cast out. He was given a domain, the underworld, the realm of death and testing. His purpose evolved, to be the refiner's fire for human souls. They didn't want you to know that hell might be a crucible, not just a prison. The evidence survived in hymns sung by monks at dawn, passed down orally before being inked onto parchment. Every genocide, every war, every personal tragedy seen through this lens becomes part of a brutal alchemy. You feel the weight of this? It's overwhelming, but it also offers a terrifying hope that nothing is wasted, not even evil. The veil grows thin between despair and meaning. Yet, amid the ruins, a testimony was preserved. A witness wrote it down, and his name was Enoch. Primary evidence, the Book of Enoch. This is the text that Ethiopian Christianity canonized while the West banned it. Enoch, the man who walked with God and was taken, saw everything. His visions, recorded in Gaia's, are your direct line to the celestial truth. You hold this scroll in your mind, feel its brittle edges, smell the ancient ink. It describes the watchers, their fall, their teachings, and the coming judgment. But here's the bombshell. Enoch portrays Lucifer not as a solo rebel, but as the leader of a concerned faction. They saw humanity's potential stagnating and intervened, albeit with catastrophic results. Their punishment was severe, but their intention, according to certain passages, was arguably benevolent. They didn't want you to know this because it complicates the narrative of pure evil. Scholars who've studied the Ethiopian manuscripts note startling omissions in later Greek and Latin versions, entire chapters about Lucifer's dialogues with God before the fall, suggesting a preordained role. You were made for this kind of digging. The evidence survived in the highlands, away from censors, but Enoch's book is just the beginning. There are other testimonies, even more explosive, that the monks kept locked away, and they point to a purpose so radical it could redefine salvation itself. Hidden testimony, the other apocrypha. The Ethiopian canon includes the Book of Jubilees, the Ascension of Isaiah, and the Apocalypse of Peter texts that whisper secrets about Lucifer's ongoing role. In the Ascension of Isaiah, for instance, Lucifer appears as the prince of this world, who tests prophets, not just tempts them. His purpose, to fortify faith through trial. You read between the lines, this is not a villain. This is a spiritual personal trainer from hell. The monks copied these texts knowing they were heretical elsewhere. They risked excommunication and death. Why? Because they believed these were not falsehoods, but lost keys to understanding suffering. They didn't want you to know that the devil might be serving God's plan all along. Imagine the cognitive dissonance. The enemy is an ally in disguise. The evidence survived in colophons, where scribes wrote prayers for protection, fearing discovery. These documents suggest that Lucifer's fall was a descent into matter, into time, into the arena where souls are forged. He became the necessary antagonist in the hero's journey of humanity. The veil grows thin as you connect the dots. But preserving such truths required a lineage of keepers, unsung heroes who defied empires. And they were waiting in Ethiopia. The keepers, Ethiopian monks of the Axumite and later Solomonic dynasties. For centuries, in monasteries like Debre Damo, Geralta, and Lake Tana's islands, these men lived in isolation, copying and recopying the forbidden texts. They saw themselves as guardians of a complete revelation, one that the broader church had trimmed to fit its power structure. You walk with them through stone-hewn churches, your fingers tracing frescoes of Enoch and Elijah figures who bypassed death, just as these truths bypassed suppression. Their daily liturgy included readings from the Book of Enoch, normalizing what was elsewhere heresy. They didn't want you to know how close we came to losing this. Wars, invasions, famines, yet the manuscripts endured, wrapped in leather, stored in chests sealed with wax. These monks believed that Lucifer's true purpose was to accelerate spiritual evolution, and that hiding this stunted human consciousness. You were made for this legacy. Their perseverance is your inheritance. If you feel that you were made for this kind of hidden truth, write in the comments what most shook you so far, and share this video with one person who also hungers for more. Your voice helps this buried story reach the ones who need it. But then, in the 19th century, outsiders arrived, and the secret began to leak. Modern discovery, the Western world wakes up. In 1773, the Scottish explorer James Bruce brought copies of the Ethiopian Bible to Europe, including the Book of Enoch. Scholars were stunned. Here was a text quoted in the New Testament, Jude 1:14-15, but lost to Christendom. Later, the Dead Sea Scrolls contained fragments of Enoch in Aramaic, confirming its antiquity. You stand in the study of those early researchers, watching them piece together a puzzle that churches had suppressed. They didn't want you to know how systematically these texts were excluded from councils like Nicaea and Carthage. The evidence survived against all odds. Modern translations from Ge'ez reveal nuances. Lucifer's actions are sometimes framed as a tragic necessity, a divine paradox where evil serves good. Theological bombshells erupt. What if the fall was not a bug in the system, but a feature? The veil grows thin as academia collides with faith. Recent digitization projects in Ethiopia have uncovered even more manuscripts, some yet untranslated, that delve deeper into angelology and the purpose of adversarial forces. You sense the urgency? This isn't just historical curiosity, it's a live wire touching current spiritual crises. But the deeper truth is even more personal. It's about why you're here, listening. The deeper truth, Lucifer's purpose as a mirror for human freedom. The Ethiopian mystical tradition, through texts and oral teachings, suggests that without an adversary, love is mere compliance. Lucifer embodies the choice to say no so that our yes has weight. He is the shadow that defines the light. You confront this. Your own struggles, doubts, and sufferings, are they mere evils, or are they the very friction that polishes your soul? They didn't want you to know this because it removes the easy scapegoat. It places responsibility back on you. The evidence survived to challenge you. Lucifer's true purpose, hidden for 2 millennia, is to be the cosmic question mark, the eternal provocateur who ensures that faith is earned, not given. This transforms theology from a courtroom drama into a mystery school. You were made for this realization. It's terrifying and liberating. The monks knew that understanding this could either destroy weak faith or ignite an unshakable one. The veil grows thin between despair and enlightenment, but this isn't just philosophy. It has physical traces, proof you can see and touch, and those traces are buried in Ethiopian soil. Your calling, what does this mean for you? Right now, as you hear these words, you're being invited into a lineage of seekers who dare to look beyond the sanitized story. Lucifer's hidden purpose reframes your spiritual battle. It's not against flesh and blood, but against your own capacity to choose meaning over chaos. You were made for this decision. The Ethiopian monks preserved this so that, in times like now, when dogmas crumble, a deeper truth could emerge. They didn't want you to know because knowledge is power, and power distributed threatens hierarchies. But you're here, you're listening. That's no accident. Your soul aches for the whole picture, even if it's unsettling. This revelation calls you to embrace ambiguity, to hold tension, to see the divine hand even in darkness. It's a calling to mature faith, one that doesn't need easy answers. The evidence survived for you, but don't think this truth was preserved without opposition. There were forces that tried to burn it all, and they're still active today. Physical traces, the archaeological proof. In Ethiopia, sites like the rock-hewn churches of Lalibela contain carvings that blend biblical and Enochian iconography, angels falling but also rising. Manuscript libraries in Axum and Gondar house thousands of parchments, some carbon-dated to the early Middle Ages, with marginal notes debating Lucifer's role. You can visit these places. You can see the ink, faded but legible, telling stories that contradict Sunday school simplifications. They didn't want you to know these artifacts exist because tangible evidence makes suppression harder. The evidence survived in stone and vellum. Recent discoveries like the Garima Gospels show layers of palimpsests where earlier texts about angelic disputes were scraped away but still visible under ultraviolet light. This is forensic spirituality. You were made for this detective work. Every erasure is a clue. The veil grows thin as science meets scripture, but these traces didn't survive by chance. They survived because keepers risked everything, and their opponents were ruthless. Who were they? The councils, the bishops, the empires that standardized belief to control it. The opposition is about to be revealed. The opposition, who suppressed this and why. From the early church councils like Laodicea in the 4th century, which rejected the Book of Enoch, to the medieval burnings of apocrypha, a systematic campaign erased Lucifer's complex purpose. Why? Because a simple devil is useful. He centralizes authority. If evil is a mere tool in a divine plan, then the church's role as protector diminishes. You see the political machinery, heresy hunters, inquisitors, censors. They didn't want you to know that power often masquerades as orthodoxy. The evidence survived only in remote regions like Ethiopia, which resisted Roman and Byzantine influence. Even there, pressures came from Islamic invasions, from European missionaries demanding conformity. But the monks held firm. They encrypted truths in hymns, in art, in oral traditions. You feel the weight of their defiance. It's your legacy. The veil grows thin as you realize that every spiritual institution has its shadow side. but now you know what they feared. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Your decision is next, and it matters more than you think. Your decision. This is the moment of choice. You've journeyed through forbidden archives, stood with monks in hidden scriptoriums, and faced a truth that rewires reality. Will you accept that Lucifer's purpose might be part of a sacred complexity? Or will you retreat to simpler tales? They didn't want you to know, because knowing demands responsibility. You can no longer blame the devil for everything. You must engage your own shadow. You were made for this courage. The evidence survived so you could choose with eyes open. This isn't about condoning evil. It's about understanding its role in soul-making. Your spiritual path now forks. One road leads back to comfortable dogma, the other into a transformative mystery where light and darkness collaborate. The veil is not just thin, it's tearing. If this journey is opening your eyes and you want me to keep bringing dangerous sacred stories like this, tell me in the comments what changed for you and follow this channel. Your presence here is the sign to continue uncovering what they tried to bury. But wait, there's one final revelation, the ultimate purpose behind it all. The final unveiling. Lucifer's true purpose, kept hidden for 2,000 years, is to be the eternal catalyst for divine love. In the Ethiopian mystical climax, God's love is not passive. It's a fire that consumes all illusions. Lucifer, by embodying opposition, creates the friction that ignites that fire in human hearts. Without him, love remains theoretical. With him, it becomes a choice forged in struggle. You stand at the end of this revelation. The light bearer fell so that we could rise, not in spite of darkness, but because of it. They didn't want you to know this because it makes every moment of your pain sacred. The evidence survived to set you free. You were made for this truth. The monk's secret is now yours. Lucifer's purpose was never to destroy, but to deepen. The cosmos is a school, and he is the hardest teacher. Embrace this and you transform your suffering into initiation. The veil is gone. You see with new eyes. This is the story they tried to erase, but it lives in you. Go forward, bearing this light.